All ready?
You're ready.
All right. 6:05. Good evening. My name is Tracy Schultz. I'm the chair of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Reconstruction Advisory Group. I'm opening this meeting of the advisory group and hereby call the meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. We are holding this meeting in person at the MDTA Police Building at the Bay Bridge. Attendees should note that this meeting is being recorded and will be available on the BRAG webpage after the meeting for attendees to view and download. Attendees should also note that the recording will include the audio and video from this evening's meeting. Presentations will be available to download from the BRAG webpage. I would ask that anyone in the room with us this evening, please refrain from speaking unless you are presenting or answering questions so that background noise is minimized for those viewing remotely. If members of the public pre-register to comment on a specific agenda item, I will provide you with an opportunity to comment after the agenda item is presented. We appreciate everyone's patience and ask that you hold any comments until the designated time. We ask that you please introduce yourself by giving us your name and community you represent before moving on with your question or comment. Please, or members of the public joining us via Microsoft Teams will be able to view the meeting only. For security reasons, the chat function in Microsoft Teams is not enabled for MDOT personnel. Any posts entered in the chat window are not visible to staff and will not be responded to. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded as required. For the record, all members are present except for.
I have John Foster is present but virtual. And David Evans will be arriving shortly, so I haven't heard from John. Yeah.
Don Floss is only MIA.
And we have Richard Piermayo here filling in for Bruce Gardner. And Sean Winkler filling in for Liz Monroe.
We have Will.
Here, Terry's on her way. I'm not gonna say she's stuck in traffic, she's part of the traffic.
It's moving. All right, our first item of business will be to elect a chair and vice chair for the upcoming year in accordance with the bylaws. Now, the outgoing incumbent, I will chair this meeting of the BRAG, and the newly elected chair will begin their term at the next meeting. The group will now nominate and vote on the chair before proceeding to nominate and vote on the vice chair. Nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Tracy to remain.
Second. Any other nominations? All in favor? Against? Thank you. We'll move on to vice chair. Nominations for vice chair. Jack? Yeah. Anyone's vice chair? Or second?
Second.
Everybody in favor? Everybody against? Okay, so moved. Thank you all. We have another successful year. Thank you. Our first agenda item is the review of the minutes of the previous meeting held in April. We didn't have any comments, but Jack sitting here tonight in town.
We just got a little, I have to say, the minutes are really very well done, as is the annual report. But I'm sorry to say, I did find two very minor things. Page 4, second to last paragraph. Ms. Seuss stated that it should be Western Shore ramp management pilot instead of Eastern Shore. And instead of started, it should be staged. It's right in the very first line there.
Anybody else have any other?
Yes, on behalf of Executive Director Gardner, I'd like the record to reflect under new business, where the motion was made, and reflected unanimous about the Executive Director Gardner abstained.
Page you want to move? Between the following.
New business, it's the only one of the business. It's six.
Let's see. Fourth paragraph, member Gardner.
Correct.
You want to say that he abstained?
Abstained.
That Charles,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Update that and send it back out to the group.
all right, and just want to, is everybody okay with those changes? We can approve it tonight, those changes. A motion,
Motion approved with, amendments.
everybody in favor?
Aye.
By against? All right, so next we have our annual report. Report has been finalized and submitted to the governor and general assembly. Final version was sent to BRAG members prior to tonight's meeting. I got that. Now open the floor to any member who wishes to discuss the annual report. Discussion. Once.
It's a good start.
That's right. All right, so everybody's good with that. Very good job on that. Charles and listen, whoever else might have pitched in to help. All right. Our next agenda item is requirement of House Bill 56, which report on the group's activities since the last meeting. Any recommendations they have based on those activities. For BRAG duties, they are provide the MDTA with an independent citizen-informed perspective of authorities' operations at the Bay Bridge. Thus potential concerns about activity at the Bay Bridge, educate the public about activity related to the Bay Bridge, work with the MDTA and provide pertinent input related to traffic and customer service issues. Would any member like to share their individual education activities and interactions with the communities since the last meeting? Start with Nick.
Okay. Flag been interesting. I've been going to a bunch of meetings the last several months in, Eastern Shore regarding the new hospital that they're planning to build in East. Some of these meetings, almost 100 people out. And it's interesting how the subject of the bridge comes up at these meetings. And EMS, emergency services, can you get across the bridge, can you come this way? If you need the hospital, but you can't go that way, and just so you all, that's out there and constantly in public's, realm. I think the, ramp closures on the eastern side have helped some, but still the business owner, I mean, when you've got 16 miles, 20 miles, just what can you do? And I'm like a public relations person, trying to explain to them that, rich people are doing whatever the hell they can do. As there's a breakdown or, a catastrophe, an accident, then you really do. And one other thing that people don't like is this red X thing. They don't like these people driving down in that red X and getting in front of them and cutting them off and doing all that. I know there's been some, leasing of that, ticketing, I have to go a little bit more. I guess that sums it up.
Yeah, I have a couple things to share. One is, I think mostly pretty positive. There's a huge amount of challenges that Dick just outlined. I get questions and comments regularly, and I'm involved in a number of different organizations. So I have to say thank you. Unfortunately, we got rained down on Ken Holiday. Roger Miller said you can't roller skate in the Buffalo herd. And you sure can't have Ken Holiday parade and an outdoor thing in a heavy rainstorm like we had all week that week. So we had to cancel that. But I really appreciate that you all delayed that ramp closure one day so that we could have the opportunity to have Ken Holiday. I think that showed a kind of a good deal of public concern. I want to comment on the ramp closures. Our guys got beat up pretty bad when they were, I say, Joe Moran, Chris Corporino. You weren't up on the stage, Will, but you were there. There was a hearing on the ramp closures in, April, I guess. And 200 people showed up, 199 thought it was a horrible idea. And they were lined up yelling at these guys. One guy even asked, who were you people? Were you elected? I'm never electing you again. They stuck to their guns. And I have to say, for the most part, for the people that were there protesting, it's working. It's not a perfect deal, you know, for folks who live though on the eastern part, I'm sorry, the western part of Cat Island, it works. It's a much better setup than we had previously. You've made some, I think, well thought out adjustments since that time. And, you know, the traffic is huge, as Nick said, 16 miles the other day. But once you get on Cat Island, it's moving. It's not that gridlock that you had before. You don't have that Route 8 stuff coming down. So I want to say thank you. And on behalf of so many people that I've talked to, thank you guys for sticking to your guns. Summer ain't over. We're only halfway through, not even that way. But it's an idea and I'm happy to share those concerns this way and happy to share that good news with the people. Probably the most pressing deal coming up, Melissa will be talking about it. What's this new bridge going to look like? What's tier 2 going to say in the fall meetings, or you'll talk about that? What's it going to look like going across the island? That we always get those. The other real quick question is what the heck's going on with the eastbound ramp, eastbound redecking? Something don't seem to be working too good. So there's a lot of questions about that, but again, keep doing what you guys are doing, keep staying plugged in. Thank you.
Brand.
Well, like I said, I think this section is, well, the quarterly group activities and recommendations. I'll save the red X and the ramps and all that for later on when we get into some of the other things. But we did have the town hall, what Jack is alluding to, and Jack, I think there's more like 250 people there. And I was up there for 2.5 hours, but it was good. I mean, it really was, because you take the air out of their sails when you educate them. We're having a lot of problems now just because you're that big dike on the eastern shore and we don't have enough fingers to plug it everywhere. So it's a struggle. It truly is. On Sunday, remember, July 4th, the perfect storm. Everybody went down on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A lot came home Saturday, but a lot more came home Sunday, and that was over 5 hours, 16 miles backed up.
Yeah.
And when I went out a couple times, they're just pouring off at Chester River Beach ramp and Nesbitt. So, I mean, I think it's time that we need to have that discussion on increasing what we're closing and how we're gonna manage it, because you guys would know better than anybody. I mean, we're 8 to 10 years away from a new bridge, and that study that was done in 2012 is spot on. I think it's 12 or 15, whatever that study was. Traffic. Yeah, so, one of the things I'd like to know, and I can't wait to you to speak, I'd like to know how things are working on the Western Shore. I mean, I hope you can dive into that topic a little bit with the contraflow. I think our messaging needs to be better. I think that if we can get to set times without the weather issues and let the public know, billboards, whatever. I mean, I struggle with how many people will leave the beaches in Delaware and Ocean City at the exact same time. I mean, it's mind boggling that they do this. Why would they want to sit in these backups like this? And I think that if we do something along 50 saying, look, if you're going home, you better leave by 8 o'clock or wait till 4 o'clock. And, and see how many, naturally, we all know that a small percentage will do that and the rest won't. But if it alleviates, I think that that's a message that we can do. And it doesn't cost us anything. Well, it costs us a little, but it's not costing us in manpower. So, that's just an option I think that we need to add to tell people, if you go now, you're going to be sitting for 2 hours at the Bay Bridge. And, the Saturday, we had an issue Saturday where the Route 18 exit off of 50 at the outlets was not closed. It could have been closed, but somebody moved the barricades. Because when I saw the vehicles coming down, I drove down and they were all in one pile. So if somebody moved them, they were kind of nice the way they stacked them up. So, that was an issue. So, again, we're constantly putting out through social media what we're doing and the adjustments. And we have heard from people, the chart bears out the fact that it works, but the problem is it works until you get to the Kent Narrows. And then once the backup gets to the Kent Narrows, they're just jumping off everywhere. And we know that the Kent Narrows will never allow us to close those ramps, and duly so. But I think we can get one versus the other, and I'll be at that next Kent Narrows Development Foundation meeting. Pushing for that. One of those branches gotta be closed on Saturday and Sunday. And personally, I think Saturdays are worse and are most troublesome because of the fact that so many people are going to the beach and so many people are coming home, and once, you know, the give or take on who gets the third lane. And if it's the third lane stays eastbound, which, you know, I get it, you know, by 1 o'clock, we're already at a 5 mile backup and we're unable to catch up, and that's a problem. So I think we're gonna have to just constantly be tinkering with it, and I want to thank Sheriff Hoffman for coming today with us, because we're gonna talk about the red X's too later on, and what Queen Anne's County's doing, and what I hope, you know, we can get a little help with from everybody. So that's all I got for now. More coming.
Yeah, and we may ask some clarifiers getting through the meetings.
Sure.
It's awesome.
So Nick wants to clarify.
Can I add something to Jim?
Sure.
I was at the beach, went to the beach on 4th of July. We drove there, drove right down the problem. If we're in a condo building that's limited, you know, so many parking spaces. Couldn't go out to dinner for the car. Because there was nowhere to park. And people were parking any damn place they felt when it was illegal. And so we had to take Uber. Saturday, you could park anywhere. Everybody left. The whole parking lot was empty, and the streets were empty. So it was a unusual week for the beach.
Right.
And I had to tell them earlier, I had at least the West Ocean City to go to Bethesda 5.5 hours. She left. Thank you
Very much.
So that's all. Thanks.
I am gonna continue to make mention of the, I think, almost catastrophic shortage of funding by the state. State road system, I mean, 5301, 213, all these roads. The eastern shore is pretty much covered by, as you know, District 2. And the road system was not well maintained a year ago when it was getting 25 million bucks. This year, 25 was cut to 12, and the 12 has now become 8. And they can't even do Sealing Plattsburgh. I mean, they got $500,000 or something to do 2,000 lane miles. I mean, this situation is really statewide, absolutely disastrous. And the problem is when you don't do this, it aggravates the problem in the future. And because you didn't seal it, you get more delamination of the pavement. And these roads all connect into the Bay Bridge. So while it isn't immediate to this group's focus, it's damned immediate to transportation in the state of Maryland. And I don't know how much lower you can go than $8 million, because that's what they've got to do the entire Eastern Shore with. And I mean, this is really a real problem for us. So just making mention.
If I could address this for a minute, I would encourage you, Steve, to go back to the last Maryland General Assembly testimony that I gave at both the Senate and House budget hearing on the state of funding. You're not wrong. We are in a tough spot, frankly. The issue here is, you know, the bipartisan infrastructure law has brought a lot of federal money to the table to advance projects, but those projects require match funding. And so we have to bring forward state dollars to move forward and receive the federal money. We have minimum obligations of our overhead, right? And there's been a lot of discussions. There was a train commission. I don't want to take up the whole Bay Bridge meeting talking about the revenue challenges the states had with the motor fuel tax, with a variety of challenges. That's been well documented and discussed at nauseam at the train commission and through the last legislative session. I am in a lot of discussions about this. It's not just ineligible routes, is what you're referring to, state roads that do not qualify for federal funding. It's equipment, it's facilities, it's drawbridges that are ineligible. There are a lot of categories of assets that we own that we have to maintain with very limited state dollars. I promise you, go back, listen to Maryland General Assembly testimony that I personally gave. I've talked about, we have a shortfall of $124 million of equipment, dump trucks that should have already been replaced. They've aged out past their life cycle. We have dump trucks in our fleet that are more than 20 years old that we're outsourcing because the only way for us to get parts to repair them is by sending them to an outsourced company that's willing to go from salvage yard to piece together parts to fix our trucks. That's the state that I'm dealing with right now. So it's not easy. I hear you loud and clear. When you look at projects that we are advancing, many of them are things like the Highway Safety Improvement Program, 100% federally eligible. So I can get federal money, but for anything that is not eligible for federal dollars and requires state dollars, it has two problems. One, every state dollar that I spend on an ineligible activity, that takes away $1 towards a federal activity where I'm gonna get $9 for spending $1. Okay, that makes it very hard to commit the funding because there's a lot of needs statewide that can benefit from those federal dollars. So we know we have an issue. We have communicated it repeatedly. The discussions that I've had to date with leadership has been that we need to live within our means. And
But that's.
we are.
This, it was no way meant to be editorial about your.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to do is create a certain amount of public awareness of the fact that you guys can't do it because you've got nothing to do it with. And that we need some kind of greater public awareness of the fact that the whole damn road system is falling apart underneath the situation. And whatever we can do to help you, I didn't mean in any way to suggest you weren't getting the job done.
No, and I think part of the education is,
What the hell can the public or the county commissioners of the different eastern shore counties of the state do to amplify getting you some resources? Because in 2 or 3 years, you're gonna have a much, much worse problem. Because this is gonna geometrically expand because of the lack of maintenance.
there's a lot of positives.
Oh, good.
Let me shine that one a little bit. You drive from Pennsylvania into Maryland, our roads are still better. You look at how many poor condition bridges we have statewide, we're at 22, one of the lowest in our history. We've done a lot of good. And that's part of the calculation here, when we talk about being in a period of austerity where we gotta live within our means. This isn't the worst we've ever been, right? I don't wanna be in a place of the worst we've ever been, don't get me wrong, but we're in difficult, challenging times and we're figuring out how to cinch our belt to work with what we've got.
Well, I think that, you know, this group and every group ought to be working to get more resources because you can't cinch your belt. What's gonna happen is you're gonna need more loops in your belt in 2 or 3 years to make up for the fact that you didn't have the resources to do the sealing right now and do the repaves. So anyway, anything we can do to help. And the speech. Are you going on?
Back to the Bay Bridge. Jim mentioned the eastern shore, the western shore is having the same problem, the backups go all the way 11 miles or so. And I understand your problems, you share the pain and the misery, and people are gonna have to get used to it. One thing, there was a little angst about not closing exit 30. But that has seemed to work out with putting the traffic light at Cape St. Clair Road and St. Margaret's Road. It has mitigated a lot of the flow. So there really hasn't been a really bad problem with the service road on Whitehall Road. I mean, it gets, yes. traffic on it, but it's not you can't get home type thing.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
How's, is the ramps closing those ramps and the ones that you're doing, you know, when you have 11 miles, they're not flooding your communities like they were when there was,
No,
when those
no.
ramps were open.
It's not as bad.
Right.
Yeah, it's making a difference. People are staying off the
Good.
surface roads. So. My take. You're up there.
And, in driving over here tonight, I saw the, cheaters coming out and filling up, our roadway Whitehall to get here, and I thought it wasn't as bad as it's been in horrendous times. They're still doing it. I deal with both Anne Arundel County transportation as well as obviously your group, State Highway. And I had a, presentation, quite detailed, given by the director of OOT for Anne Arundel County. I've been at 2 of those now, and I sponsored one for the entire Roanoke Peninsula. And they are, limited in funding, as you all are. I think their situation is terrible. They have less authority now than they had several years ago. So when you listen to what they're telling you, their challenges are, it's more than depressing. It's almost an insult.
Yeah.
Okay. It is an insult. On what you wanted to know about how we're doing on the western shore, you have been redecking for so long, and I agree that the messaging needs to be improved. The orange lights you can barely read, and I don't get enough to tell our members what's going on. So what I do now is when I get a call or question, I just say they're busy redecking the eastbound bridge. And they're doing a fantastic job. It's gonna be so great when they finish, and it's the end of the conversation. I know, oh, okay, good. So everybody gets all the redecking. You could be finished redecking, and I'd still be telling a story, because it's getting me off the phone. So, we would appreciate more information on what's going on. Like I really couldn't give a very intelligent answer as to how this process has been moving. But even if it's you don't even have to be a fancy newsletter. It could be bulletins sent out to us people who interface with our communities that says, here's the latest and greatest, here's what's coming. I know you send out the little blurb, but that doesn't do a lot of good for us. So we really would appreciate more detailed information. I could get it out in advance so that people may want to reschedule their time over there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, in fact, I went over for the first time in about 8 months. I went over to the Narrowland and did all last night. I thought, I was looking around, taking notes, thinking this is not good timing, because I'll see you all tonight.
All right. Well,
Don't have anything to add.
Good afternoon. Apologies for being late, stuck in traffic. Still engaging with the entertainment arts community in the Annapolis area. We're at the height of festival season, concert season, event season, and trying to kind of, bring awareness to some of the changes that we're implementing here that's having an impact. Because even, like you mentioned, the 11-mile backup is impacting, because people are coming through Annapolis now, they're coming through St. Margaret's Road, going to the bridge, trying everything we're to do to alleviate, actually, Siri took me through St. Margaret's Road and through the Whitehall Road today because traffic was such backed up. And trying to educate folks and share some of the information I get through the emails and stuff. But just wondering, like I mentioned, is it email, social media, anywhere else I can point people to kind of give them a heads up, because, there's, again, a lot of stuff happening in Annapolis, festivals and concerts and stuff on a daily, weekly, hourly basis. So just trying to, I get a glare when I tell people I'm on this commission, so they're like, what are you doing about the bridge? I'm like, nothing. Nothing immediately anyway, but things, trying to work through some of the concepts that we come in here and explaining to people, that it's bad both ways, coming and going, and that, basically trying to work through it. So just trying to keep awareness for the community and making sure that folks are aware of what's going on. Thank you.
follow up and on Eastern Shore, like I said, we've had trouble with Grand Canal and stuff back up. Now we're seeing backups on Route 301, which is, correct, Jim, how far, did you hear how far it's backed up on 301 Sunday?
I heard it went to 213.
Yeah,
So
213, 309, everything.
it comes from 404, 309,
Yeah.
213, and 301. So we're not only having Route 50 backed up now, we're having.
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that this weekend, coming back from the beach on the 4th of July, we're stuck on 301.
So you come down 309 and 301, 230. But it used to not be, and nobody really knew about that. Now it's like, it's almost as bad as with 50
Computers
years.
tell me.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know, but-
GPS will take you there, so.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that's gonna become another mountain issue, I think.
It's, Sun River Bridge and the 5301 split are secondary points of choking, so,
Yeah.
and that's just the nature of the beast.
Then we had the additional traffic coming down 301
Oh, yeah.
to keep Ridge telephones, it adds to that too. Yeah. Main Street, I think some more still needs to be done with that. I know some of our members of the firehouse are all volunteers. We have some of our own, your jobs, get to the firehouse before we get the fire trucks out. From the circle of Casamina Road back to, through Graysonville this weekend. One of our workers, it took them like 45 minutes to get from Graysonville, middle of Graysonville to Kenton Harris.
Yeah.
To get to work. But I'm not sure where the foot of the Kenton Harris Bridge, the old Kenton Harris Bridge, put a sign up, the arrow pointing out to the old outlets. The exit 41 is like last exit to westbound 50 or something. I don't know. They wouldn't really be telling the truth, but it would maybe would.
Well, it could be telling the truth.
Could be, yeah.
People flooding on it in Nesbit. And that jammed up almost as soon as you got to the firehouse in Graysonville, it jammed after that.
It goes all the way from there all the way to,
Yeah.
Castle Marina Road, so.
Yeah.
It was right on through
Was it Saturday or Sunday that the drawbridge got?
Saturday. And then,
Just what they
it's a Saturday, I'm not sure what happened, but I called base bay, I call every once in a while, see what's going on. And it said eastbound was no delay, we had a 16-mile, I think it was, or 8-mile backup westbound, it just seemed like it took long to implement third lane on westbound, longer than it should have a little
That
bit.
was Saturday.
Saturday,
Was there any cause for that or just traffic?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying,
Was there wind?
This was Saturday.
it seemed like it took a little longer.
Eastbound volumes were same as they've always been.
Just traffic.
It just
We
seemed
actually stopped it earlier than we
Yeah.
typically do on Saturday, around 12:30.
maybe the volume coming westbound was just.
But it's at the same time.
July 4th traffic coming back. It's just.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
we've had these conversations before, you just, we're getting to that point, which is talking about the life cycle, which is we're getting to the capacity. We get to capacity. And, it's.
Usually Saturday, we opened it up, it takes like an hour or so, and an hour and a half, it's cleared up. This Saturday.
Yeah.
It did clear up.
And that's probably a lot of traffic and all that.
That just depends on the back traffic, right, on what's behind that.
Right, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, they roll them.
Eastbound did die down earlier, but we didn't have to go back. Couple miles, but.
And last I had, few complaints about state highway. No, Bay Bridge, Kenton Harris Bridge. People in the area, you probably get complaints too, from county commissioners, it's the dirtiest bridge in the state of Maryland. The shoulders, stuff, there's more debris on that bridge, I get people who ride around saying, can anybody clean that bridge up? We go to those meetings like, yeah, it's really about the Bay Bridge, I think, Kenton Harris, well, it don't matter. You can stuff all that, you could just have spot.
Yeah, to see if we can run a street sweeper or something. We gotta look at what it is, what kind of.
Right, I think a little bit of everything.
My wife once hit a piece of 2x4 and kept her for $3,200 damage. Fortunately, I'm doing insurance.
Paid your bill, right?
Yeah, who
All right.
paid that much?
All right, let's move on. Next agenda is updates on the current projects from MDTA, Department of Planning and Program Development Director Melissa Williams, and MDOT Chief Engineer of Operations.
So I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna do the MDTA afterwards, but then I'm also gonna do the Bay Bridge update. So Terry, would you like to go first and then I'll just do the two and is that all? Or Melissa, may we deviate from the schedule ever so slightly? Is that okay?
Or your Terry's presentation.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Government efficiency.
Forgot to add, sorry.
Just get ready, because mine's gonna be. I know you're wrong.
Do you have the?
Where's Jim?
Yeah, the
Thank you so much. These are, just some maps that have been already presented at the town hall meetings. That are on our website, so just the visual reference, for everyone. As we talk through, ramp management on both sides of the bridge, and I feel like everyone already gave all the updates. So, we're pulling up the maps, but, I think as we know, on the Anne Arundel County. Okay. Right, this is the Queen Anne's County side. We do have 2 ramp closures that we're doing, every weekend. The times on Queen Anne's County side. We just extended the hours. They're from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, Sundays, and holiday Mondays. And we started that just before Memorial Day, and it will run through the Labor Day weekend. So the closures are at the Maryland 8 interchange closest to the bridge, and Duke Street, which is a county roadway and is manned by the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Department. So the next one just gives a little better detail, of the closures. We are not closing the off ramps for US 50, only the on ramp to US 50 westbound across the Bay Bridge. And then the detours are the detour would be for folks to turn around on Maryland 8, head back on Maryland 18 to the Castle Marina interchange, get back on US 50 if that's their purpose, is to cross the Bay Bridge going westbound.
Terry, if I could comment, you guys added allowable exit onto 301 or 5301 West at Shopping Center Road. That, I think that was a critical game changer this year. I really do. Because it then didn't force everybody from either direction to all gang up at the circle.
Okay.
It allowed folks on the western side, the Route 8 corridor, to come in and go Shopping Center Road and get on. Again, I think it was really the thing that's allowed that to operate this year.
Okay. Any other comments?
In this map here, Route 8 South, if you live at Route 8 South and you want to cross the bridge,
They come all the way back Castle Marine
you
Road.
can't do it.
You cannot get on, no,
You can't have direct access. It's about a 4-mile detour.
correct. You have to detour back to Castle Marina.
Those people all happy going there?
Don't worry about it.
No, but you know, the addition of allowing Shopping Center Road, they changed the whole deal. They didn't all have to go to the circle like last year and meet 12,000 neighbors at the circle.
I hear you.
That worked.
I'm blown.
Oh, you're saying it worked because they're not going to the circle.
Yeah.
They're cutting through the
I
shop.
was going through, they did, well,
Okay.
you know, I know Gary, if he has any comments. on
There are also.
Yeah, I think I think it helps, but I do want to say that what we're seeing from the law enforcement side is you're ending up with the same problem you had at Route 8 now, where the off-ramp sitting on the Route 50 Bay Bridge, you have people trying to merge in, where you have that high-speed acceleration that they're now using as a cut through. So now you're seeing them go down the shoulder through that barrier area there that gets off the shops. They're trying to merge back into traffic, which we're observing is taking people from lane 3, the far right lane, forcing everybody over into lane 2. So we're starting to see congestion there now, you know, because of that. So, I mean, I guess it's a toss up. I mean, it certainly helps the residents of the county get access on the 50, but
Could
I
you,
think it's pushing that back.
there's 2 exits there off of that service road. Could you put block it just past the first
So they can go out, they can do a second one open, so they come back out, keep
If you can force them into the shopping center, at least it might slow down that.
70 miles an hour down through, cut through.
Yeah, some of them are taking that, I'm not trying to take it for medium, some of them are taking that shoulder from that off ramp all the way down,
By the
blowing
radio,
through,
yes.
blowing through Duke Street. And then all the way up to the Route 8 exit. I mean, they're just, once they get in that lane, and once one does it, 9 follow.
Absolutely, so we saw that with the Maryland 8 ramp. So our very preliminary traffic analysis so far this summer shows a very slight improvement on US 50. Delay times only 3 or 4 minutes, so not significant statistically. However, I think it's that friction from the merge that is slightly improving things on US 50. And of course, if you're trying to access Main Street, Maryland 18, that is improved with the ramp closures. We have not analyzed, and we can try and do so for the next BRAG meeting. We have not analyzed any traffic operations on Maryland 8.
I've not experienced, what's the traffic like coming from South 8, go to that circle, to kind of put this. That move, is that low?
Oh, yeah.
It has to
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It definitely works.
So if US 50 is not congested, it takes you about 7 minutes. During the worst of the congestion, we're seeing 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the Queen Anne's?
Well, no, we're just ready to,
You ready to pounce?
we're ready to close 2 more ramps.
Can you help that's what I wanted to go back to when you said that before. Because what I think I heard you say, Jim, wasn't, the strategy that we have here is closing the entrance ramps to get back onto 50.
Right.
I think I heard you say you want to close the exits to prevent people from getting off of 50.
Or close to prevent them from, like, for instance, Nesbit Road, you come up westbound, you come up to the stop sign, you turn left to go over Route 50. Close that access and make them go straight across and get back on 50. Don't let them get to Nesbit because they're gonna run down and it's a parking lot. And the same thing with Chester River Beach. Same situation. They come in, they cut through all those neighborhoods and they come out, they want to get on the south side of Route 5301 because they know that's where it's open. And that's, if we can kill that traffic from getting there, it's gonna make a huge, upswing in mobility throughout all of these, you cannot.
Yeah, I think we'll have to massage exactly what you're talking, because at the key, when we had the town hall, we still get complaints.
Yeah.
The key complaint is the detour.
Correct.
So
Right.
you're not talking about closing every ramp. You're not talking about closing access to the Kent Narrows
Correct.
waterfront.
Correct.
You're just talking about strategic
Yeah.
exits
Yeah.
off of 50.
That's right.
that
Because they all
prevents-
know these are, you can sit there and everybody's DC, Pennsylvania, Virginia. They all have condos down there. They go on the weekends and they all know the way. I mean, the backup on Sunday, my wife and I went out to try to get ice cream and were denied the traffic. So I came up over top of Nesbit, and I'm looking back. And the backup was probably a good quarter mile to the west, closer to Chester River Beach. But the line of cars trying to come up and go across Nesbit was backed out onto 50. Because they know, I can see brake lights, jump off, get on 18, and that's what jams up 18. And that's what, sad for that is also a major problem on Saturdays. So, because you have eastbound that's very heavy and you have westbound that's very heavy and they jump onto 18 and everything just locks up.
Jim, how would you get home? If you had.
You got to go to the narrows. And again, it goes to
You gotta
communication.
go all the way to the narrows and then turn around.
Well, right now you do. Sooner or later, when we get to use those decals, you'll be able to get through them. We're nowhere near that yet. We gotta wait till we get 20 mile backers and then we'll get to that. So, yes, I mean, and it goes to communication. It's just like I would love us to be able to say with contraflow on Saturdays in the summer, it's staying eastbound until this time. Push that message out so people know I better get through across before then or go later that night. And same thing with westbound, and I know we're pushing that message and everything says leave now, these are the best times to travel, but I think we need to bring the word contraflow into everything, and so people understand you're only gonna have 2 lanes. And you're not gonna be able to get out onto 18, so, it's gonna take that learning curve, and it's painful, because believe me, you think you get it. No matter where we go, we get it.
No, there's no question, and as others have said.
Yeah.
Your leadership at the town hall was appreciated. And,
And a lot of people understand it, and like I said, so and then we started hearing, well, we went from, instead of going from 8 to whatever it was before, 12 to 6. Then we got the complaints, see, now we just got used to that, and they smoothed the time, and well, that's because we're learning, and, it's evolving, and I don't have a problem with that, so, we're gonna have to try some things, and the public's gonna have to get a little bit more educated on the travelers, because it is unbearable. It really is. I feel for those people that live along that corridor. It's brutal. And that's why I kind of wish we were the Western Shore, because there's only so many key points. We have so many exits and so many ramps. You can't do them all.
there's a lot of businesses too,
Right,
like exit
yeah.
45.
Yeah.
I think that's the Wawa exit, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. It's kind of tough to close off an access there. We're gonna get some different.
You're not closing that access off.
That's not what you just said?
No.
Okay, I think maybe if you can send us a graphic of
Absolutely.
exactly what you're
Absolutely.
suggesting.
No.
What if you wanted to make, so you're gonna come up off the ramp 50, Nesbit,
Yeah,
you're gonna force them to go straight across.
Yeah.
What if you're trying to go to the emergency room?
we're gonna allow them to go through. Emergency services, anybody, police, emergency service, fire services, anybody says, I got the flu. Sooner or later, they're gonna get wise to the trick, and everybody's gonna have the flu, but, it is what it is. We gotta do something.
Now you go to the Narrows and turn around and come back, so you're gonna go under the 50.
Yeah.
And in front of the restaurants there, you're gonna make the left.
Yeah.
Are the people lined up trying to?
No, because you've already closed those 2 ramps, so
So
that
that.
all that traffic's now gone. Yeah. And that's what I mean. That's the portion of keeping it out on the 50.
Those people don't wanna let you by.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I every weekend.
Well, coming off there too, staying on the back road, that's where I sit on the other side, need a sign there says last exit to westbound 50, and then we'll go out by the old outlets,
Yeah.
exit 41 to westbound 50.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. Are we done? Are we done discussing Queen Anne's County side?
Sure.
It's slide, we'll look at Anne Arundel County side. So as you mentioned, there are less exits on this side of the bridge. And we are only closing 1 currently. So the ramp at Oceanic, exit 31, is closed from Fridays at 10 a.m. through Saturday evening at 10 p.m. And again, we started just before Memorial Day, and we'll carry this through the Labor Day weekend. We last year permanently closed the access at Whitehall Road, formerly exit. I'm sorry, this is exit 32. That was formerly exit 31. And this year we have not done a closure at exit 30. As you can see, very close proximity to the 179 interchange, exit 29. So we didn't feel that many people would take that very short part of the service road. They would maybe save a minute. And I'm willing to hear feedback, but I think we're hearing that not a lot of people are taking that short detour.
It's manageable.
Okay. So that does that. So it, again, on the Anne Arundel County side, we're just doing the 1 ramp closure is summer.
Green with empty. That's all I got to say.
Different situation.
No, it's,
And you already provided your feedback. Any other feedback? Say it's manageable. It seems to be working. If we go to the next slide, we did do 2 new traffic signals that became operative. Next slide, please. Two traffic signals that became operational just before Memorial Day. One is at St. Margaret's Road. That's a full signal. I used to be a flashing beacon. And the other one is at Maryland 179 and Pleasant's Plain Road, Old Mill Bottom Road. And my GPS didn't send me that way today because of as a backup on your service, my stuff and my cell phone, my shopping thing.
We'd just like to say thank you for those traffic lights. They've made a world of difference in the safety of our travelers. Really,
Very, very glad to hear that.
more so than we ever thought. We faced that. It's probably, to me, the most dangerous turn roadway, curved roadway in Annapolis. And it made such a big difference that we are just so grateful.
Very good to hear. We did hear some concerns about delays. I know the team did tweak the timing a little bit. I think it's working fairly well at the moment, but willing to take.
There was one letter to the editor that was in the paper this week that I'm gonna go and drive. It was going westbound. And it was turning into Pleasant Plains Road with the Bay Bridge to your rear. And they just said that it was difficult making the turn, but I'm gonna go check it out myself.
Okay.
But that's the only negative thing I've heard.
Okay. Every once in a while, we do get to that, yes. Usually when we do traffic signals and or noise policies.
Good.
All right, any other questions for state?
Thank you for the handouts. Do I have any more questions? All right. But. They're up.
Good evening, folks. For the record, I'm Melissa Williams, Director of Planning and Program Development at MDTA. I wanted to start this evening with good news. If you do have complaints or anything like that you would like to discuss during traffic or weather events, we have a new man over here that you can call. Mr. Billy Clow is our new Deputy Administrator for the Bay Bridge. If anyone needs his personal phone number, he'll have it on that out to you. Just wanted to welcome you as the first meeting with us, so thank you. Congratulations. And I also wanted to introduce Paria Ahmad. Paria is Melissa's new assistant, so she is the Assistant Manager for Community Relations. So slowly but surely, we're adding to our staff. We're working to keep things moving for you guys. So I do apologize. Jim was unable to be here today due to family engagements. He asked me to cover for him. I will do my absolute best. If there's anything too complicated or that I don't know the answer to, I will promise I will get back to you after I talk to Jim. Step. So we'll start with BB 3013R, which is an on-call structural repair and miscellaneous modifications contract. As it's stated, this is miscellaneous repairs for the bridge. We currently have 13 active task orders assigned for this contract with 43 task orders completed to date. I just got a new computer and I'm getting used to using the touchpad. I am not very good at it. So please forgive me. I'm trying to become more current in my technology. The second one is BB 3012, which is our queue detection system. This is the project that's going to allow us queue warning and travel time systems on the east and west approaches to the bridge. This is a project that we worked on with the University of Maryland Cat Lab. At this time, the cameras still need to be installed. We're looking at a completion estimated in the summer of 2024, at which time we'll be moving into phase 2, where MDTA will be working with the UMD Cat Lab to develop algorithms to use to incorporate the traffic data and make use of it. What those algorithms are, to be determined, but we're hoping that's be a useful tool for us. BB 3017 is our eastbound Bay Bridge deck replacement, phase 1, package 1. This is the deck for
deck floor replacement and widening of spans T14 to T22. The casting yard currently has 55 deck panels. The contractor has set 7 of those panels as of Tuesday morning. I think everyone's aware that we've had some issues, some delays with that project, including the collapse of the key bridge, some weather situations, some truss repair that needed to be done, as well as the temporary steel grid design that we were using for the concrete slabs. In summary, it was not working as well as we thought it was. The contractor was very much watching things quite closely. They saw that it wasn't working and we had to change gears and do things a little differently. So they are now using temporary concrete slabs instead of the steel grid at the panel joint locations. All of the grid locations have been replaced and we have all concrete slabs at this time. Contractors moving forward very well. It appears that they're able to set up consistently set 2 panels in 4 hours. We're hoping that the next work they'll be able to do will be on Saturday evening. Wanted to turn it over if I missed anything, guys.
1 panel, 4 hours, and looking into 2 panels.
Okay, I'm sorry, I gave them credit. They're looking to do 2, but they have been doing 1. I apologize. Thank you.
So Melissa,
What did he say? They're doing 1 panel a night?
every 4 hours.
Every 4 hours.
Looking to do 2.
Are they gonna try to do 2 on Saturday?
And
We're gonna try.
Weather allows. If the weather allows, they
the
would.
weather allows,
All
we're
the
gonna
pre
try to
done,
do
yes, so that they're gonna try and set 2.
So we'll try to-
So did I hear you say that the early issue, such as the Mother's Day mess, has been resolved?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they were using the steel grid, didn't hold up as well under traffic as they had thought. Took that out, moved to the concrete, things are going well, and then moving ahead. They were looking to be innovative, they tried something new, it didn't work as well as they had hoped, so they regrouped and they're moving forward. But I do have to give credit that they did try something innovative, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they were on top of things and able to catch issues before anything.
And it's also proved
Just a bit of a
to the
delay.
quality and inspection of our teams to be able to catch those items prior to anything. So, so they've
There's a
really.
bad news, good news story.
Absolutely.
You guys
Definitely trying innovation.
So
Thank
you
you.
referred to the slabs as temporary slabs. Is that what they are?
That is correct.
What are they gonna replace them?
The temporary versus permanent. The temporary was for overnight to get through the day to the next day to finish, but now it'll be concrete and it'll be
Correct.
finished.
So it's gonna be permanent.
It's gonna be permanent concrete.
It seems to the layman that thing is going really slow.
It does.
And it might be, and it might not be, I don't know, but that's one of the subject matters. And today I saw maybe 6 sections. That looked to me like there's 6 sections.
Well, there's a lot of factors, right? Variables. Weather's one. And you gotta remember that we at MDTA have our own wind restrictions in place. But when you're talking about large equipment, you're talking about even more restrictive factors, right? And conditions. So some of that comes into play as well. Other things are, even though we're pushing to try and get innovative, if we can't get there, we caught it, we have to push back, check it, verify quality, and then get it in. So it's not about speed, it's about quality. And so,
We've had some windy, like the last month, we've had some wind. We've had a lot of trip.
I think MDTA's done a lot of listening. If you recall, both the westbound deck and the westbound overlay had steel plates that were above that created a bump. And we all talked about the bump and the slowdown at the bump and the complaints about the car damage at the bump for both of those projects for almost the entire duration. When they talk about innovation and this temporary plate, you're not talking about the bump right now. So
No.
getting it right
It may be.
might take a little bit more time, but there's a lot of benefits to think about that maybe aren't really realized. If you went with not a recessed plate, but one that was above, that would be slowing traffic down every day.
No one's saying you're not doing the best job and the best thing. We're just, people say, why'd you take us? What are we doing? Going to a couple pieces that look like, you know, repair. And this is, so I'm trying to have some answers, which you give me, but.
Richard, one of my favorite Bay Bridge statistics, and I hope you remember it because I don't, is like 50% of the time there are restrictions due to traffic or weather. Is that right? Like 50% of workable days?
50% of workable days.
Days are workable because of weather or because of traffic volumes that we can't do work. I think that's just a great thing. If anyone says, why is it taking so long? We only got 50% of the amount of time to do work.
When
And
are we
that's-
supposed to be complete? Spring of 25, right?
Hold on, I'm not good with this.
125, 26, phase one.
Phase one, there are multiple phases. I'm not a very good driver. I shouldn't have done this.
So, yeah, I see.
No, but I have it in my notes and I'm not good at scrolling.
Why are we starting in these?
Winter 25, 26.
I mean, we're not up against the one, the false channel structure. We started, I don't know how many, so far away from it. We did 3 there, and those are the ones that were the, oops, it broke again. So first time it broke is an oddity, second time it broke, it's a design difference. So, but now the 4 panels are further up the bridge. I mean, I guess I'm just curious, why aren't we starting in one location and working our way up and over the bridge?
The joint section.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the joint location, they were not ready to do a 2-channel set.
Well, we're setting the panels and then we're putting in the removable concrete sections, which I think is a great idea, because you're 100% right, nobody's slowing down, it's perfect. And those sections are gonna come out when you get a certain amount of square footage or a certain amount of area, and then you're gonna pour concrete in those, which is gonna cure within 12 hours. I mean, that seems like how far, I guess. Well, I got questions about that, but I don't want to hold it up here. I'm just, as a concrete guy, it's like, you know, some of these, you know. Question.
This is on the virtual if you want him to speak to some of Jim's comments as well.
I'm sorry?
Tekesta's on virtually.
Amy and,
Okay. Yeah.
and Richard are,
Okay.
you're good. I'm sorry, Pat.
What I'd like to do is get a white paper, not just this amount of information, that takes us through the need to study, something that a citizen can read, that all they really want to know,
Other than today.
all they want to know really is they want to know when is the end, as we talked, what is the phases, what's going to be done, what to expect.
We're not in the NEPA study, we're on bridge deck replacement right now.
No, I didn't mean to bring any.
We'll get that, she wants to do NEPA next.
I just want to be able to write a newsletter that has everything that we're asking here.
She's doing NEPA next.
Pardon me?
She's doing a NEPA study next.
Yeah, I know.
We're on a bridge deck replacement right now, so we're gonna,
I want the bridge to be explained in the way we're doing it here now, so people can read and understand and stop calling us.
For the deck replacement.
Yeah.
And for.
Yeah.
The deck
we have that in
replacement,
one of
yeah.
our,
Okay, he said, Neva, he meant.
okay, yeah.
And you know, I look at NEPA as the umbrella.
That's all right. No, I got you. So we can work on that for you, kind of pull together some bullets to make it clear for public.
We have some
consumption.
fact sheets in the lab too that are downloaded as well.
Maybe we could send them to the group.
Mhm.
That would be great. We got you. Then a follow-up to BB 3013R is BB 3021, which is another on-call structural repairs miscellaneous modifications project or contract, I'm sorry. It was advertised in April and we anticipate notice to proceed in October. Then we have our BB 3004 construction maintenance equipment storage building. We anticipate final design in the winter of 2025. It's expected in the fall with construction by the end of 2025. Then we have another fun one, which is BB 3023, which is peer protection. I know a lot of folks have asked this question before, and MDTA is looking into this. We're looking into peer protection for the Bay Bridge, looking to, of course, decrease the risk of vessel impact at the Bay Bridge. This is a very new project. We very recently initiated planning efforts to assess what kind of environmental impacts and what kind of environmental coordination we're going to need to do with the agencies, what kinds of permitting will be required. We're working closely with the design department, and we're looking to do our best to expedite the procurement and construction for this project. So this is when I'm gonna have to say, stay tuned, but it will be moving quickly. We want to ensure that the Bay Bridge is protected as best as possible, as soon as. With that, it's getting nervous. Okay, with that, I will move into the Bay Crossing, NEPA study, unless there are any questions on anything else here that I can either answer or send on to Jim.
Yeah, I guess we can say the Jim.
Ear protection thing, I didn't mention it earlier, but that's a question we get all the time.
Yep.
What does the Key Bridge mean for the Bay Bridge?
It means we're
That's-
gonna get
that's- yeah,
expedited efforts, and
That's a good.
probably by our next meeting, we'll have a good bit to share with you. At this time, we're very early on. My group is looking into the permitting aspects of what we need to do to get something permitted.
Thank you. Great.
Yep.
We're textural.
Ask,
I'll draw on board.
ask Jim for me, what can you build as pier protection that could stop 100,000 metric tons at 20 knots? That's the one I want to know.
Well, yeah, and part of that is,
Yeah.
you know, what we've learned,
Yeah.
from the MSK is that it's not always just about the structures, right? It's about the procedures and the processes and so on and so forth. So all of that is being worked in as well. You know, when as recent as we had, you know, the Dolly move out, there were some procedures put in place that were call outs prior to reduction of knots and all kinds of different procedures that we've got in place now. And so all of that goes in play with, because you're absolutely right, right? I mean, if you're going to a certain amount of knots speed.
Yeah.
And you've got a large, vessel, yeah, it's gonna be very difficult, yeah.
I'm going to move to the Bay Crossing study. No one has any objections to that? Okay. We are preparing for our next round of public meetings. We will be hosting them in early September. Again, we will be having a virtual meeting. We're gonna try this one on a Saturday, not putting out dates yet and times. They'll be out shortly, but we have decided to do a Saturday, just change things up a little bit. And of course, we'll be doing one meeting physically in Anne Arundel County and one in Queen Anne's County physically as well. Wanted to put a thank you out to the group because we have, based on input from this group, we've been invited to several meetings. Community meetings, Queen Anne County Town Hall meeting, North County High School, Kent Island Fishermen's Club. Based on input from this group, thank you very much. We've gotten some really good invites. We've been able to reach a lot of people and share a lot of information. Really, our key for these outreach efforts is for people to know what's going on and people to not feel that they're in the dark and they don't know what's happening or what kind of studies are being done. So we're very grateful for you and the fact that you've been reaching out to your communities for us. We also attended SHA's the Maryland 18 Pell Open House in May and got some input on the Bay Bridge at that as well.
We're gonna,
Okay.
when we meet, we're gonna have September, what more information are you gonna be able to,
Real soon.
I mean, what? Are you
Oh,
gonna?
what are we gonna share?
Are you gonna have more updated information or just the same stuff you've been trying to answer more questions? Or what?
You know, I'm a spoiler alert. I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert. How's that? So I'm really excited about these meetings because something we're gonna do that's a little bit different that we're still working on. She's giving me the look. She's like, oh, be quiet. We're gonna have all the past information there because some folks are coming for the first time and aren't as familiar with the study and what decisions have been made already. We're gonna have past information and we're gonna have new information for you to look at, and we're gonna make it real clear which is which. Okay, so if you guys you know the past that we've done, you know what happened in tier 1 and all of that. We're gonna have that there for folks to see, but then we're gonna separate from the new information, and the new information is pretty big. We're gonna be showing alternatives. We're gonna be showing you what kind of crossing, where a crossing might be, some pretty detailed information, some actual alternatives. So not,
That's huge.
yeah, so not just squiggle lines, but actual ideas of how many lanes there might be and things like that. So it's a lot of good information, but we're going to, like I said, the thing that I kind of like is we're gonna separate so that folks can see if they need a refresher, here's refresher information, here's the new things that we really want to get some comments on. And I think people are going to be very encouraged when they see real lines on paper, because it starts to become real then. It starts to become real. What kind of impacts do you have? You'll be able to get a good look and get a real good feel for what it actually is.
It answers a lot of questions too, where it's located and all that stuff.
Yeah. An awful lot. We're still ironing out the dates, the locations, the times, but as soon as we have everything and we're ready to go out with our press release, of course, Melissa always sends to you guys first. So you will have that information for newsletters and things like that. You'll have all of that. And our press release is in draft form right now, so I can spoiler alert again, but it's very clear with what type of information we'll be sharing. So it's very clear to folks that we will be sharing these preliminary alternatives, which, like I said, people want to see lines on paper. They don't want just ideas of corridors. They want to see lines, and we're going to be able to share things like that, which I think will become much more meaningful to the public. So again, just kudos to Melissa and Haria. We've attended 13 meetings or 13 events since our last meeting in April, and we have about another dozen planned before September. So the group is really, really working hard, trying to get out there, get to the public, hear what people have to say. People got a lot to say right now, with the summer months. So it's a good opportunity for us to get out to festivals. We would have been at Kent Island Day, So we've had a lot of fun attending these events, but also gotten a lot of really good input. It's great to not ask people to come out on our terms and on our time, but to meet people where they are and to go to the events that people would be attending anyway. And if they want to attend with their families, give us a minute or two of your time. It's a win-win.
I said this at the last meeting, but the presentation that Heather gave in Stevensville in March was tremendous. Well done, very professionally done, and very well received. And also when I've seen, at community events, the team you had there, it just came across quite well.
Thank you.
Good information. So, you guys are doing good.
Folks Melissa and company are working very hard. Haria started with us just a short while ago, but she is a busy woman. She has not been bored one day. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have unfinished business. There's no unfinished business from the April meeting, so we'll move on to new business unless any member has an objection. Being none, new business. Our only item, new business, an overview of automated lane control systems enforcement from MDTA Chief Operating Officer Richard Harmelo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members. For the record, my name is Richard Harmelo, Chief Operating Officer with the Maryland Transportation Authority. Just want to share with you tonight just a brief snapshot or overview of what the team has been doing in regards to overhead lane control system enforcement. And when I say team, I'm talking about the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Hoffman. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your team's cooperation on this. MSP Annapolis and our other allied partners who have assisted with this effort. The Bay Bridge Detachment in conjunction again with the MDTA Police Operations Support Units, Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Office, and Maryland State Police Traffic Incident Management Team conducted a high visibility enforcement initiative on July 3rd and July 4th, targeting closed lane violations from 7 a.m. to 1500 hours. The MDTA police are committed to public safety and will continue working collectively with our law enforcement partners in securing a safe, secure travel environment in and around the Bay Bridge. Want to provide you just a quick overview of the results of the multi-agency HVE or high visibility enforcement for the July 3rd and 4th. And that again, with a team effort from Queen Anne's County, Maryland Transportation Authority Police, and MSP Annapolis. A total of 191 vehicle stops, 74 citations, and 163 warnings. And so the HVE initiative was a huge success as the Maryland Transportation Police we're able to collaborate again with the team and including a TIMS unit, which is Traffic Incident Management Team, to enforce the lane use violations at the Bay Bridge. And in addition to the enforcement, the Bay Bridge officers did provide and educated our motorists by handing out pamphlets that explained the different signals displayed on the overhead gantries. So all of that was part of the high visibility enforcement with the team from Queen Anne's County, Annapolis, and MDTA police.
Special gates. Is there any way to put more lights on those? I know there's probably a standard they had to build them to.
There's a standard.
It seems like you can't see.
But
That one little row of lights on, it seems like they're like, especially tail lights are,
yeah,
seems like they should have like 3 sets of them.
so there's, as with everything, right, we're trying to learn from what we got. So we have been in contact with, Virginia, as well as a couple of other individuals, organizations and vendors. We are currently working and looking at other additional options, that include possible lighting, signage, and so on and so forth.
Have you got complaints from other people too about them, or they just don't seem very,
Yeah, we
You're
get a
not
lot of
being
complaints,
lame.
so, you know,
you're not supposed to be in a lane, but somebody.
yeah. I think more than anything, we just, you know, we do get complaints. But we're having a lot of, issues with the gates being hit. So that's part of what we're trying to fix.
So, the Red X. And I'm happy to see that the July 3rd and 4th, they were out in force and gave 74 citations. What about the 3 months before that? I mean, do we have any data on how many tickets were written? And more importantly, the time of day those tickets were written? Because, you know, just like today's backup, when I came over, I saw 7 cars in the Red X lane all the way up to the gates. And I didn't see any law enforcement anywhere to be found. I mean, I guess I'm a little befuddled at what, you know, why we have such a difficult time in enforcing these red X's. And I'm already, we're taking meetings now so that when the legislative session gets here, we can get these cameras one way or another.
Yeah, why can't you put a camera there like a speed camera?
Well, they can't do that.
Can't do
That's the legislation. So
Measures.
so we're gonna work on that, but until then, I don't see enforcement at all. Every time there's a backup, there's nobody there. And if it's a safety issue, then, you know, we have those trucks that we use all the time with the red arrow on it, the crash, I can't remember what the vehicles are called. Right, you know, why can't we pull that out where the red X is and with the arrow on it and keep these people out of that lane, because it is the number. Look, traffic is enough is unbearable as it is now. And then when you're sitting there and 99% of the public is law abiding and they stay in the green arrows, they get out of the red X's, only to see these cars come flying down, it infuriates people. And we're not doing nowhere near enough to do that. And in Queen Anne's County, we've tasked the sheriff with Saturdays especially, to get out there at the red X on Sundays. For that reason, because that's when a majority of our backups are, even though we do see it every day of the week, in the afternoons, depending on which way the contraflow is, that backup. But I'm just befuddled at why I can see an MDTA officer all the way up 301 running radar on Route 50, but we can't get somebody here on a regular basis pulling people over. Because you pull one over, the rest of them see those lights and they say, we're not getting in that lane. And I know it's not a high priority, but, you know, a win somewhere for the public would be nice.
Yeah, and it is a priority. I mean, safety is always a priority.
Understood.
Okay? You know, just respectfully disagree. We do have enforcement. There is enforcement going on. And to your point, we do have the data that shows this because we have the enforcement and everything that went on with the HPE, such as the warnings and violations. We have all that going on since the gates have gone in. So it is being monitored and it is being enforced. But to put MDTA police out in the middle of live traffic is not safe. One, okay. Two, to talk about putting a crash attenuator out there, we're also talking about an additional safety issue because we don't have the area to put them in that would safely allow, because what we'll do is if we end up creating a crash in that area, then now you have just made that problem worse.
Well, I respectfully disagree. I mean, I would like to see the data because I can guarantee you that none of it was after 4 PM in the afternoon, or very little of it. I come across that bridge every morning around 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I see them out here and they're pulling people over when there's a trickle of traffic moving eastbound. And I get that, okay, that's fine, but when we need them, they're not there. And we send the wrong message to the public, and anybody listening on this right now can say, well, guess what? When there's an 11-mile backup, we don't have to worry about anybody, law enforcement being there, just get in the red X. And that's what's happening. It's just more and more people are going to hell with it. And they're getting in the red X and they're coming all the way up. So, I don't want to beat this horse anymore, but I don't agree with what you're saying, but play by your rules.
Well, it's not my rules. It's essentially, I want to be clear. I mean, it's not to be bad of it in any way. I'm just saying that we do have our police officers out there and they are out there all the time. Now, in the event that they're dealing with an incident or an issue, obviously then there's the resource issue. But, or, a time change or whatever, a shift change. But we do have the data that shows that we have been out there. During the day, of course, and during the high volume traffic hours.
But you can't put a camera, go ahead.
I've experienced the same thing that Jim has. As I said, I haven't been over there much, but certainly last year I was. It seems like the ideal place for cameras where you wouldn't require the police to be on site, but then they're just easily filling up that lane and nobody's doing anything about it. No one's there. Why can't we just take pictures of the violators? And my question is to you, do you have any information on how many tickets have been issued regarding because of the camera activity?
There's no
Camera
cameras out there.
activity,
There's no camera.
there's no cameras.
There are no cameras?
No, not allowed.
You have to get legislation for that.
Yeah, we have to get legislation in order to have the cameras.
We went for it last year and for whatever reason, it didn't get any traction, but we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen this time. So we'll be coming.
I mean, that's a natural.
Yeah.
If you can't have cameras, can you put a sign there that says photo enforced? I mean, how many of those are around the state?
MDT, sorry.
Put a sign there, it says photo
And
enforced.
signs
At
work.
the very least, until you can get a camera there.
We got 6 or 7 months and hopefully the legislation will pass and we'll take care of that. So that's all.
You mean in Maryland or in Queen Anne's County?
Maryland.
All right. Any other new business?
I had something to want to show just some observations, and I apologize for, I go off, just some observations real quick.
Glad you're here tonight. Fill your guts.
We do have a high enforcement rate in the red X area. I mean, and I know MDTA, MSP, have observed that. What we're seeing is education of violators. I don't know if I believe all the stories, but everybody says that they have no idea what a red X is. They didn't know how that was over. Just giving you some of the many excuses that are on body cams. They know what a stop sign means. But it seems like the education of violators, they don't understand where when yellow, we all get it in this room, but I'm just telling you what the deputies here on the street is that they saw the yellow, but then all of a sudden now they're upon the red. People won't let them merge in. So it's one of the things that we are educating with citations, red X violators. So we're letting them know, as often as possible that red X is a closed lane and they're gonna be cited for it. Or they tell us that they're not from the Eastern Shore, but they're from across the bridge and it's different over there. It's honestly, I'm giving you factual body cam reports.
Different, it's not in a good way.
I'm sure they're telling these guys they're from over there, so. What we're noticing though is it is creating road rage. We're noticing that we're seeing people tighten up when it's getting closer to the, to where those lanes are channelized into the bridge and all, and the people are then driving the shoulder trying to get past because they've come down that red X lane. I do agree with Commissioner Miranda. I think that one of the things we need to try is maybe putting a marked car on the shoulder of the roadway. Maybe with, I know it's gonna slow traffic a little bit with the emergency lights, or even if they just use the cruise lights or something like that, because when people do see the police car up there, what we did notice is that they are getting over so they don't pass that police car. So something we're gonna try on the Queen Anne's County side for this, to see if that does help alleviate some of that. The one thing I would ask of MDTA and all is, one of the things talking about outreach is, if the PIOs could share with us information on when those lane closures are. Because sometimes we have staff that comes out to work the lane closures and the lane closures aren't closed. So if it's something we could get the schedule for that, we could better fine tune what we're doing, and it might be something we're missing on our end. But we could better fine tune our overtime and stuff like that for when the actual lane closures are. And then also being able to notify us that if the lane closure is canceled, because now we've got numerous deputies coming out for this traffic enforcement, we could then cancel those or redirect them into other areas of the community. So I'm a big proponent of the automated speed enforcement. I think that for the red X closures, the automated enforcement for the red X closure. So I'll be in Annapolis with all of you testifying for that. I think it's very important we get those cameras up. I think that'll alleviate a lot of the issues with the law enforcement side of this. So, other than administrating the photo enforcement program, which is a whole nother side of law.
Generating up money for the new bridge.
That's right. I had the bridge up in less than a year. Thank you all for your.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for the invite.
All right. Any comments from the members of the public? Please wait till you're called upon to speak. Melissa Biden for plenty comments. Anybody? All right, next scheduled meeting will be on Wednesday, October the 2nd, 6 p.m.
Tracy, I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
On my, seeing as this is my last BBRAG meeting. I just want to say how much I've enjoyed being part of the group. And want to state a few fun family facts. The original Bay Bridge opened on July 30th, 1952. It was doubly a great day. That was my birthday. John Hopkins. Also, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my cousin Jeffrey in the hospital. And he said, I never told you this, but my name is in the cornerstone of the original bridge. He said, I was in a car right behind Governor McKell crossing the bridge, and the first 25 people got their names into the cornerstone. So I'd like to thank you all, especially Melissa, you Tracy, you Jim, for keeping us so well informed. So
Thanks for your participation and your time that you gave to the BRAG committee. Appreciate it very much. Welcome to come to the meeting still.
And you are actually still part of BRAG until
Right.
if there's a replacement.
All right,
So-
thanks. So you're still active, sitting in that seat until your replacement.
I'll stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
We don't know when or if it will happen, so we don't get informed. Like that, so. We can't give you any information we don't know, so just keep showing up until you. Thank you all. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. See everybody on October the 2nd.